So today we are going over how to factor trinomials, which is 3 terms. On Friday we did 2 terms and 4 terms. Today we're doing 3 terms. And here's 2 examples of trinomials that are factored all the way. This right here is the final factored answer for this first one. And what they did was they looked at the x squared plus 8x minus 20 and they tried to envision what you'd FOIL together to give you this product. So when you're doing FOIL, you're doing x times x, that's the only way you're going to get x squared here. When you're doing FOIL and you do the last 2 terms, that's how you're getting negative 20. It's the inside and the outside terms that add together to give you that 8x. Our method of finding these answers is called guess and check. So for this one over here, they were looking at this first term and saying, well, it's got to be an x and an x. It has to be. And looking at this last term and saying it's got to be a 9 and a 9. Well, I guess it doesn't have to be a 9 and a 9. Could be a 2. Could be a 1 and an 81 or a 3 and a 27. But they figured out it is 9 and 9 so that we can multiply the outside and the inside back together to give us a minus 18. Here they got to this step where they said, x minus 9, x minus 9. And if they're exactly the same, you go one step further. And you write x minus 9 squared. Okay? If you don't do that last step, you're not getting full credit. So this is undoing all that stuff we've been practicing. You did some of that on your assignment Friday's assignment, hopefully. If you finished it, it's at the end. All right, here is talking about the signs. This is all talking about the signs when you multiply these together. And we kind of talked about this on Friday when we were going over Thursday's assignment. But what you need to know is when you look at this sign right here, if it is a positive, if C is positive, you've got 2 situations. If C is positive, the only way that C can be positive is when you multiply these together and they're both positive or you're both negative. So if C is positive, these signs for P and Q are going to be the same. If it's positive, the signs are going to be the same. If B is positive, they're both going to be positive. If B is negative, they're both going to be negative. And then this situation over here says if C is negative, if that C right there, if that is a negative, to multiply these 2 numbers together and give you a negative, one has to be negative, one has to be positive. So it'll be one of each side. We talked about that on Friday. Now we're going to use it. So guess and check factoring. I would not suggest that you just go and draw 2 parentheses for every single one. Because not every single one is going to end in 2 parentheses. I know I saw some people doing that in my last class, so I just wanted to say that ahead of time. Just do it one at a time. If you know how to do some of this stuff and you work ahead, you're probably going to miss something that I say that might be important later. So if you are working ahead, make sure you are checking in to make sure you're doing them all right. So we're going to guess and check. We're doing this by thinking about FOIL. So when I FOIL this back together, if I FOIL the first term, I get x squared. What has to multiply together to give me x squared? X and x. So those have to be x and x. And then we look at this sign right here, which is positive, which means the 2 parentheses are going to have the same sign. Then we look at this sign right here, which is positive. So the 2 parentheses are going to have the same sign. This tells me which sign the 2 parentheses are going to be. So that tells me they're both going to be plus. And when we do FOIL, we do first, we do outer, we do inner, and then we do last. I'm going to do last next because last gives me a product of 12. 2 numbers multiply together to give me 12. That could be 1 times 12, 2 times 6, 3 times 4. got 3 different choices. So this is where my guess and check happens. I put 2 choices, one of those choices in there, and I FOIL it back together. What would you like to try? Why are you thinking 2 and 6? Because when we FOIL it back together and we do our outer and our inner terms, we're going to get a 6x and we're going to get a 2x. And we add those together, do we get an 8x in the middle? Yes. So remember, we do FOIL, the first gives us the first term, the last gives us the last term, and adding those 2 inside terms gives us the middle term. This is just opposite of what we've been doing. So that would be our answer, our factored answer. Next one. So we've got a trinomial. It starts with an x squared. So I know it's going to be an x and an x. And then I'm going to look at my signs. This sign right here is a plus sign. What does that mean? Same sign. This sign right here is a negative. That means which sign I'm going to have here. Then we've got a 12 at the end, which we've already thought about what makes 12. So how am I going to get a minus 8? What number should I use to get a minus 8? 1 and 12, 2 and 6, 3 and 4, 2 and 6 again. Does it matter which one I put where? Can I put the 6 first? So when we FOIL it back together, here's our check step. I get a minus 6x and a minus 2x, and I add those together, and do I get a minus 8x? So I have the answer. C, we've got x squared minus 8x minus 20. Let's start with x and x. And at the end, I've got a minus 20. So what does that tell me if there's a minus sign here? We're going to have one of each sign. So we're going to have different signs. And then we talked about this on Friday. I might come back to that in a second. I'll come back to that. But we know that there's going to be a plus and a minus sign. I don't know which is going to be which. But both of them start with an x, so it doesn't really matter right now. Has to multiply together to give me 20, minus 20. So my choices for 20, what do we got? 1 times 20, 2 times 10, 4 times 5. I have to get a minus 8 in the middle. You know what it is? Okay, but I have a plus and a minus.
You have 10, 2. Wait, never mind. No, 2.
Plus 2
Yeah.
and minus 10. Okay. So how you would know, well, first of all, we're going to check it. So where it's going to have minus 10x and then plus 2x. And I add those together and I get a minus 8. How would I know is when I have the different signs, the bigger number gets that sign. So when I say, oh, it's got to be 10 and 2, I know the bigger number has to be the minus 10. Okay? Just make sure you're checking your answers. Next one, x squared minus 8x minus 12. All right, we're going to start out, we're going to say, okay, it's got to be x and x. What's this minus tell me right here? Minus 12, what's that minus tell me? Different signs. So I'll have 1 plus, 1 minus, not sure which is which, but you could put minus first if you want. Then I've got an 8 in the middle. I've got this 12 over here. What are my choices for 12? 1 times 12, 2 times 6, 3 times 4. I don't know, I blanked for a second. What choice? What should I put? got really quiet. What's going on in your head? 2 and 6? Which one's going to get which?
The 6 is going to get the minus.
Okay. All right, and then we're going to check our answers. So we're going to get a minus 6x and a plus 2x. And does that equal minus 8? No, so that's wrong. But that's okay. I'm doing this in pencil, so it erases. You're all doing it in pencil, right? But I tell you all the time to do it in pencil. Okay, what else? What else could I try? Got to multiply together and give us 12. Those are our only options for 12. What are you thinking? Oh gosh, I couldn't understand whatever you all just said. It was so quiet. What are you thinking? It's not possible. Yeah, it doesn't factor. And on Friday we had something that didn't factor, and we called it prime. Excellent. So if nothing factors at all, it's prime. I want you to try 1 and 2. I want you to try 1 and 2. There's some examples in the back we haven't done yet, so we're going to do some of them together, and you're going to try some of them on your own. Try 1 and 2. If you understood the first few minutes we did. If you need your calculator, because you don't know two numbers that multiply together to give you 36, may I suggest you pull that bad boy out, because this is going to take you hours if you don't know what multiplies together to give you 36 and you have to do 35 questions for your homework. I hope you know, but I know not everybody does. I went around and saw most people had that. I even saw some people had this. Good. Well, multiplies together to give us a negative 20, but has to add together to give us a negative 1. What makes 20? 1 and 20? We already did this on the other side. 2 and 10? 4 and 5? Which is going to be the answers. It's got to be 4 and 5. It's got to be a difference of 1, because 1 is plus and 1 is minus. Got to be a difference of 1. And this needs to be a negative when we're done, so the bigger number is going to be negative. So I multiply together, back together, I get minus 5m, and I get plus 4m. Yes, that works. Minus 1m. Got it right. Next one, I've got x and x. I look at my signs. Second sign is plus. That means what? Same sign. What sign are they? Minus. 36. We got 1 and 36, 2 and 18, 3 and 12, 4 and 9. I think that's it. Oh yeah, 6 and 6. Forgot that one. What's going to give me 13? 4 and 9. So I check it just to make sure that there wasn't like multiple answers and I picked the wrong one. Negative 9x plus negative 4x. Yes, negative 13x. Okay, number 3. What is our first step of factoring always? If you're working ahead, you probably forgot that from Thursday, whenever we did this, Friday. What's our first step of factoring always? Greatest common factor. Do you notice this one has a greatest common factor? What is it? 2. So we need to factor that out first. So we're going to factor that out, and we're going to have left over x squared plus 2x minus 15. Now that 2 does not disappear. It is one of the factors. It's going to come down with my other 2 factors once I find them. That 2 is one of the factors. Now I need to factor out x squared plus 2x minus 15, so I know it's going to be an x and an x. They're going to be different signs. Has to add together to give me 2. What numbers make 15? 1 and 15. 3 and 5. Can I get a 2 somehow out of those? 3 and 5 have a difference of 2. But this is going to be a positive 2. So which number should be the positive out of 3 and 5? The 5. And then we just check it, just make sure, minus 3x plus 5x. Yes, that works. So this is our answer with the GCF of 2. The next one is also another one that we haven't really done yet. I mean, kind of